Hey kiddos, here is our end of year review for the executive branch. Hopefully these pictures aren't outdated, but if they are, you just substitute in the person's name and you're good to go. As we began with the legislative branch, we know that our three branches of government were created at the Constitutional Convention in 1776 in order to balance out our government power. The L branch makes the laws, the executive branch, which we're talking about today, carries out and enforces the laws. Remember, the purpose of checks and balances is so that no one group or person has too much power, and we don't have a monarchy anymore. So the executive branch can check the nation's laws by doing several things. Number one, the president can veto laws they don't like. That's number one. Number two is the president can appoint justices to the SC, Supreme Court. We have Amy Coney Barrett. Boy, I really didn't do my work, and I should have gotten out a picture of this so that you have a visual. This is supposed to be a visual representation or review of our government. So here is Amy Coney Barrett, kiddos. The president, Donald Trump, got to appoint Amy Coney Barrett, for example, right before he left office and got her in. It had to be approved by the lawmaking branch, the Senate, but she got in there, and that was one of the checks of the executive branch on the judicial branch. And the president can check the lawmaking branch by vetoing laws they don't like. Okay, so now I'm going to go through some people that are the executive branch at all levels of government. Remember, we talked there's three levels. There's federal, president. There's state, where we have a governor as our executive leader. And at our local level, we have a mayor. Our mayor, let's start there, is Jane Lang. She serves a term of 6 years. She's allowed to serve 2 consecutive terms, and then she needs to take a break, but then she can be reelected again. Kind of goofy. For governor, they have a 4-year term. 4-year term. I should probably write some of this down for you. Have a 4-year term. And they can serve unlimited terms. So Tony Evers here, he could run for governor as many times as he wants. As long as he wins re-election, he can keep doing it. And we have Joe Biden, our president. He has a term length of 4 years and a term limit of 2. The 22nd Amendment limits a president to only 2 terms. Before the 22nd Amendment, presidents like FDR, he's really the only one, could serve more than 2 terms. FDR served 3 terms. He served beginning around World War II. All right, so there's a brief review of our executive branches at all 3 levels: the federal with Joe Biden president, the state, Tony Evers, the governor, and the local level, Jane B. Lang, mayor of Neenah. Let's move on. How is the president elected? This is kind of a goofy little story or situation, because once you're 18 years old, you get to vote for any of these 3 offices. But you have to be 18 to do that. And we call the 18-year-old vote, we call that the popular vote. So over here, we have a Hillary Clinton fan, kind of angry, wearing the popular vote shirt. That is because in 2016, Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, but she did not become president of the United States. Donald Trump did. Make America great again. 2016 Trump. He won because he won the electoral vote. So something we need to remember or learn today is that the electoral vote determines the office of the president. So over here on this map, we have different numbers. We referred to this map a lot, the Electoral College, and the fact that these numbers differ because of a state's population, right? So we have the most populated state, California, roughly 35 million people. The next highest, Texas, 40 votes because they have like 30 million people or something. Wisconsin, our state, has 10 votes in the Electoral College. They have around 6 million people. And then tiny old Wyoming, the state with the smallest population, has about 500 to 600,000 people. They only get 3 votes. Why is that? Well, in 1929, we set up a rule that said every state will have some votes towards a presidential election. This was an important safeguard to protect the smaller states so that they still had a say in determining who was president. So on the whole, the Electoral College ultimately picks the president, but they base their vote, this selected few of individuals who represent the Electoral College. The EC bases their vote on the popular vote. They have to. There's actually laws in place in the states that where an elector doesn't follow the popular vote, they can get a monetary fine or a misdemeanor charge. So it's kind of a big deal, and it's an important check in our system of government. But let's look at 2016 just to give you a prime example of how sometimes this doesn't always match up, right? The winner of the popular vote isn't always the presidential winner. Hillary Clinton earned in 2016 64 million votes. Donald Trump only 62 million votes. However, Trump became president. That is because of the Electoral College. Trump won more of these states. In fact, Wisconsin went red. It was a red state, meaning a Republican state. It voted Republican, so all 10 of these electors voted for Trump. In 2020, this state, Wisconsin, went to Biden, so Biden got all 10 votes, and it was a huge deal. In 2016, Georgia went to Trump, a red Republican state, but in 2020, Georgia's votes went to the Democrat or Joe Biden. So to recap, what is the popular vote versus the electoral vote? The popular vote is, kiddos, the people's vote. All right, I'm just going to type that in here. The people's vote. So that is you when you're 18, your vote or your parent and guardian's vote. That's what that is. The electoral vote are those people that are chosen to represent us and use the popular vote to choose and select the president. The Electoral College protects the smaller states, ensuring that they are not overpowered by the Californias and the Texases with many, many people. And we need to remember that the popular vote does not always match up to the biggest winner. Finally, a fun fact is that the 11 biggest states in population, California, Texas, New York, Florida, Illinois, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Georgia, North Carolina, the biggest states, kiddos, the 11 biggest, could all vote for the same president and win the election, and the 39 other states could vote opposite and it wouldn't matter. And that is because, again, of this Electoral College and how many people live there. All right, so that's your review of the executive branch. Hopefully you learned a little bit or dusted off the cobwebs of some of the things you learned long ago. Good luck on your test.